The first thing which struck me in Perfect Blue is that it utilises its directing, and a perfect example for this to me is its creative introduction, during which we introduced the various plot points, each of which portrayed by their scenes themselves, and with little to no talking in the mix. I'm glad that they went with this creative approach instead of just having a bunch of exposition said by the characters themselves, and instead going for a show don't tell approach. Through this, we introduced the main characters and are able to grasp their personalities through how they're portrayed in these scenes rather than what they say. It shows the few relevant information to the overall plot, guiding you through this carefully and effectively. Throughout the movie, Mima, who is known for being a pop star idol, retires to become an actress as it seems to be a promising route for a career, with her manager, Rumi, being reluctant to this and seemingly supporting her regardless. Well, however, Mima soon learns the much more sinister side of her career once she's introduced to the internet, and which makes her increasingly paranoid as the movie goes on. Aside from this, Mima soon learns that her role as an actress in the show Double Bind might not be what she wanted, as she's persuaded by its director to act in a rape scene for one episode, and has a googly-eyed photographer take revealing photos of her for a model role. Little does she know that the grossly depicted stalker, going by the username Mimania, is out for blood once an anonymous imposter claims to be the real Mima, and who is able to convince him that her sudden change of actions is the result of her being replaced by an imposter, leading to him attempting to kill and rape her before him being killed himself. Near the end of the story, it's revealed that the anonymous imposter was actually Rumi, and who has dissociative identity disorder, and who carries out the murders of those involved in the cast. For example, the director for creating the rape scene, the perfect photographer for ruining Mima's innocent image, and even Mima's office manager for being positive about Mima changing her career plans. Follows the chase scene, as Rumi is closely depicted as the idol version of Mima in this scene, who jumps right at the scene effortlessly so that she will be able to get close to Mima and therefore be able to attack her. It's also shown, however, that this could be the result of Mima's deteriorating health, as in one shot we see this alternative version of Mima against a reflective building, which shows that this is indeed Rumi, who appears grotesquely overweight and running out of breath in these scenes. In the end, they're both badly injured from almost colliding with a truck. The truck drivers notice and call an ambulance, leading to a time jump where we see an older and mature Mima visiting Rumi in a mental hospital, who's still suffering heavily from dissociative identity disorder. But while things didn't work out for Rumi, they did end up working for Mima, as you hear near the end of nurses gossiping outside that it couldn't have been the real Mima who came to visit because she's too popular, and still wrapping up the story in the plot's development. In many ways, the movie reminds me of the anime series Serious Experiments Lain, as the two characters go through similar deterioration the more that they're fallen into the deep rabbit hole of the internet, and so it's called in Serious Experiments Lain, The Wired. They show naivety to the internet followed by their fall into its more sinister side. Isn't the only similarity I'd like to point out, however. As the more disturbing Mima's life becomes, it's suggested that she's developed another side of herself, who takes the appearance of her as a pop star idol, and who's constantly mocking Mima for the choices she makes during the TV show, despite it being able to bring her success. This mirrors how Lain finds out there's another version of herself in The Wired, who's believed to be a god and seen as a legend by the other players. This leads to her also questioning who she is, as this virtual version of herself is able to invade into her real life and mocks her lair online too. As just mentioned, both imposters in these animes are able to break the rules of their show's reality, even appearing among the main characters' friends to further mock them. Both anime also show their protagonists' lives slowly grow more and more surreal and disorientating as the days become shorter, their rooms become messier, and their lives resemble utter filth. Apart from this, it's suggested in the plot of the TV show nearly ends by the two main characters of the show talking to a doctor that Mima's character was the murderer all along, suffering from dissociative identity disorder, believing that she's the character in the show and who carries out the murders because of this. A lot of the events in this show can coincide with how Mima is feeling at the time, which very creatively draws similarities between her fictional world and her life. Us as the audience being able to know this before the end means that you might draw that as the film's conclusion, especially as you've seen that Mima has blood-ridden clothes in a bag, in which the anonymous internet poster claims in a recent blog was because she likes to go shopping at sales, instead of making you think that Mima is the murderer as she's carrying out the murders subconsciously but somehow forgets them. This uneasiness aided in the presentation and directing of these scenes in the movie's halfway point, as it becomes disorientating to watch as the days get shorter and our only memories are those of being on the film set. However, this is revealed to not be the case, as creatively and effectively it turns out that Rumi is instead the one who's suffering from dissociative identity disorder, who is the murderer instead. So at the final scene you see the older and mature Mima talking to a doctor about Rumi, asking the doctor about her condition, and sending the final scene in double blind. This way the anime cleverly flips their expectations, in the twist which caught me completely off guard, which seems also obvious now, showing how both the viewer and Mima are just as oblivious as to who they should trust. Because if you really think about it, how could this not be the case, as she's the one who knows where Mima lives, as she drives her home every day, so with the help of the stalker and from being around Mima quite often, she's able to use this to put words to Mima's mouth via the blog. It is also suggested that Rumi was a pop star idol before, like Mima, changing her careers, but who, like Mima, starts to regret this and forms dissociative identity disorder. While Mima is able to seemingly recover from this, Rumi is not able to, and sees Mima as herself, hating how Mima decides to agree with the director and goes through with it all, the rape scene, and etc., which upsets Rumi greatly because she sees herself as Mima, and once Mima's innocent image as a pop star is ruined, then Rumi sees this as Mima ruining her image. Apart from the story, I would say that the deaths of Faye created too, one which created uses sound to build atmosphere and suspense, which I'll play now. The deaths stand out to me because of their creativity and their deeper meaning, where the characters who are killed and their involvement in removing Mima's innocent image, like for example in this scene where the music of the group playing that Mima used to be in is playing. The manager who convinces and supports Mima with her transition from music to acting is killed in this way, literally being killed by the music, and while the perfect photographer gets stabbed in the eyes with screwdrivers. The deaths remind me of those in The Godfather, especially the infamous scene of the prize horse's head inside the businessman's bed. The only problem I found sometimes was the audio mixing. In some scenes there would be subtitles but no audible sound, and or sound which is so low it is barely detectable. Without the subtitles on screen, various scenes including the one with the music player would have lost their impact. I've heard that there's an English dub of the show, and so I might check this out to see if they've improved on this, but from what I've watched in the assumably original version, the audio in it is desperately in need of repair in these times. However, the music can be very fitting. The tracks by Mima's former group, Cham, worked very well as they're full of energy, being very convincing to belong to this kind of group, and to work in very well paired to these scenes. Apart from this, the colour palette of the show is what stands it out the most and gives it its style, being very vibrant and bright, making each scene, whether they be perverted, shocking, or just a scene with little importance face value, more beautiful and adding to its overall depth to me. In conclusion, Perfect Blue, as the title suggests, was perfect, with the only drawback being the mixing some of the scenes. However, if you're willing to look past this like I am, then you're able to watch a film which is creative without presents its scenes, and it's also clever with its twists and turns without presents its characters, how this changes over time, and topped with a beautifully vibrant art style sticking to you as the movie progresses. Overall, I'd definitely recommend this.